blown away, and I'm going to try my best to pull everything together and get through this, but I'm blown away with the amount of love that Dad has in this room between family and friends that don't even know him, but know me and know of him through me. I'm really humbled. So thank you all for showing up and being here. For our military honors that are hanging out, and feel that it is so important to provide Dad with this honor as well. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart. For Dr. Colson, who was here and he had to leave early, but he was with Dad. He was sent by the angels. He was our advocate. He was working alongside Elena, and they had first name basis, constant communication back and forth. And he has been amazing to provide my dad with the best possible care, again, alongside Elena and all of us. And I can promise you one thing, Dad was never alone. Unfortunately, when he had COVID, about 2 months ago, 2.5 months maybe, we weren't able to be in there. It was so hard for us to have him in the hospital, in MICU, where we weren't able to be there. But I can promise you, when he was there for the second round, my mom and I, Petnapa, Elena, the family, we did not leave his side, not once. I had day shift working with the doctors, and Mom had night shift. I told her, don't worry about it, Mom. You don't have to. She's like, no, I want to, and I'm gonna be here. So I know that when Mom says what she wants, you just back off and you let her do what she wants to do. She's a very strong woman. So I have been here since the beginning of November. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Reggie. I work for Michelin. I am blown away with the support that I have been given to be here at this critical time. My dad was in an MICU for 3 weeks, and then he lost his battle, and then I've been here supporting and working on helping Mom with some of these arrangements. So thank you so much, Reggie. It means so much to me. I'm gonna have a sip of water. So that's not even what I prepared. That's just all the thank yous. What I prepared, we were around the table yesterday, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and ask for help. I need to listen. I have to stop being in Nordstrom and think I could do it all. And so Katie had offered, Adam had offered, and I was like, you know what? I need some help. Dallas had everyone. I was like, yes, I'm a fool for not accepting help. Yes, I need some help. They helped me put the slideshow together. All I did is pick them up. We sat around the table, we listened to old music, we decided what we wanted. Mom went to sleep, and she couldn't sleep because we had so much laughter and fun and talking. She came down and joined us, and we started singing. And I had a plan that I was gonna finally sit down and write the eulogy. Well, guess what I wrote? I wrote a few words. I wrote, what is my dad to me? He's my hero, my friend, my father, grandfather, and teacher. That's about as far as I got last night, okay? But I knew that my heart would speak. So I have something written down. So now it begins. It's the beginning. Although I'm not fully aware of all the stories of Dad that happened before my time, I do know that there are painfully hidden chapters, some of which only a few in this room know, and some of which died with my father. But what I can share is the stories of the man I knew, So he is my hero. I remember every time before he would leave for school, for work, I would jump up to give him a kiss. And he'd go to work and he'd have sometimes he'd have a bloody lip or something, because I'd always just jump up to him and hug him. And he'd walk in and people would say, "Jim, did you get another hug from your daughter?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." I remember him coming home from work after working with oil and hydraulics. And I loved my daddy so much. I looked up to him so much. I was ready to take off his boots, so I'd be like, "Daddy, let me take off your boots." So I'd sit there and I'd unlace his boots and take them off. And then I'd say, "I'll take off your socks too." So then I'd take off his socks. And then just as a joke, because as you can see, he's a little jokester, he said, "Now kiss my feet." And guess what? Yeah, I did it. I was always a tomboy right next to his side. I was handing him tools underneath the, in the garage with the woodworking. Loved the smell of wood and varnish just as my dad did. And I actually loved the smell of oil too. We would be under the truck or under the car. He'd show me how to change a tire and change, the oil and things of that nature. And I was always handing him the tools. I remember once, we, as three girls, we had some boys, my dad loves to tell this story, some boys that came over to the house, and they had rolls of toilet paper and were toilet papering our house. We had no idea. Don't even know who the boys were. But my dad came from home from work, and he saw them. And so, in perfect Jim Nordstrom form, he said, "You got an extra roll of toilet paper?" And he says, "You're not doing it right." He's like, "If you're going to do it, do it." So he showed them how to toilet paper. That is my hero. He's my friend. So as a kid, I had so much energy, I may believe that. I would finish food and I'm like, "Okay, now what? What are we going to do now?" He'd like, "Go hit the road." All right. So I run outside, I go hit the road, I run back. "Now what? I'm ready for the next thing." He's like, "Go run around the house." So I'd go outside, run around the house, and was ready for the next thing. He was my father. We had a Nova. I remember growing up, I don't know, it's the first car that I remember, maybe the first car that I was in. It was an old Nova. Needed a lot of work. I remember that living in Milwaukee, it didn't have a working defrost. So my dad rigged that Nova, and with a fan, and figured out how to jack a plug and get that fan running so that we would have a defrosted window and be able to ride that car. Well, he also was very proud that he found a horn from a truck. And he ended up installing the truck horn in the Nova. And he was a stickler for being on time. Oh my goodness. If I say that we're ready, we're gonna be ready. So sure enough, Sunday morning, he'd want us to get ready for church, and 3 girls, 3 showers, 1 bathroom. I mean, it's not easy, Dad. And so he'd be out in the car and he'd go, honk. I mean, the entire neighborhood woke up. And sure enough, we had the fear of God. And we're like, better get out to that car. And in the vein of the showers, 3 girls taking long showers. To get us out of the shower, as Uncle Gary had said, he was conservative. You know, you had hot water. There was a lot of conservation in our household, conservation of electricity. Money doesn't grow on trees. I mean, conservation of water, you name it. Well, to get us out of the shower, you know what he did? He'd fill up a bucket of ice water and pour it over the shower. We'd scream, and that would get us out of there real fast. Discipline. I cried harder for the tickle monster than I ever did for his spankings. I hated his tickling. I ran away from him so hard. I was like, ah, stop it, Dad! Get away from me! And he just loved it. He would constantly be chasing me and trying to tickle me. But his spankings, when we did something wrong, oh, believe me, we did plenty of things wrong. Vina was an angel. Vina was an angel. Petnapa was the mastermind. And I'm the one that did anything she told me to. So who got caught? Yeah. So we had a paddle. And whenever there was something that was done wrong, my dad would never spank us out of anger. He would take a walk. It doesn't matter if it was sub-zero. He would take a walk around the block first. Come back and say, Vic, this is going to hurt you more than it hurts me. And then we signed our name on the paddle. And actually that paddle cracked. I think my name was on there a whole lot. So I always have challenged the status quo. I am that daughter, for sure. I mean, you've seen I've had shaved head. You know, I grew up in the 80s. He hated my punk rock look, and I thought it was so cool. We'd go to church, and he'd be like, you can sit somewhere else, and I'd be fine going up to the balcony. I'm like, I'm cool. I remember once I skipped school. Well, actually, probably more than once. But the one time that I remember skipping school, my girlfriend Julie Newman and I had a great idea that we would take a bus to Chicago from Milwaukee. And so we get into the bus, and we go, we had it all planned out. We'd get back, we had the mastermind, you know, all of this stuff. And right around 2 o'clock or so, we'd leave Chicago, we'd make it back home in time, and I'd say that I was eating dinner over there, she'd say she's eating dinner over here, and everything's gonna be just fine. Well, guess what? We got on the wrong bus. And we didn't know where we were. And this was before cell phones, and this was before GPS and maps. So, you know, there were paper maps back then. I had the dreaded call to call my dad. Oh my gosh, I was like, oh, he's gonna kill me. So we were at a McDonald's, I think. Lena's gonna love that. She hates it when I go to McDonald's. She's like, Victoria, you're going to McDonald's again? Anyways, we were at McDonald's. And the clerk had to give him the coordinates of where we were. So here he is, and it's nighttime. I mean, I think we were picked up at 10 o'clock at night, and it's a school night, work night. And he's, you know, looking for the instructions on how to get there. And it was dead silent in the car. Not a word was said. And then I went up and went to my room, and he said, we'll talk about this tomorrow. Grandfather. Well, I think you've seen some tractor wides. Dad was a father to Aman and Tala. He taught them so much about life, about hard work, being by them. He played with them. He was always a jokester. He was at every birthday party, tried to be at every soccer game that he could possibly be at. And he was always the life of the party at any of the birthday parties, always the one playing around and joking with the kids, and the tickle monster came out and he started playing with them. Loved to play with the kids. I mean, the boys could probably share some memories that they have. But any school project that required any type of engineering, painting, varnishing, oh my goodness, he would mastermind the project. he would overdo it. I'm like, Dad, you know what? I don't know if that's a project that a 5-year-old would do. And he's like, they're helping me. This is great. So they always worked alongside Gramps, as you can see, you know, in the workshop or on projects. As he's basically built this house pretty much from the ground up. This pond, the house was actually a very small house, and he put a marble on it, and it would roll down. And he was like, oh, we're not buying this house. And Mom was like, yes, we are. We are buying this, and this is where I want to be. So, as I said, when Mom speaks, she gets her way. She is a very strong woman. Let there be no doubt. And he loved to learn. He loved to learn how to figure out things out, make mistakes, work on the pond, figure things out, figure out the balance of the ecosystem to make sure that there wasn't an overgrowth of algae and that the fish would help. So, I mean, there was an entire formula. I mean, if he was here right now, he would love to have someone just listen to him speak about it. And it'd be about an hour conversation talking about how to work the pond. So, what he's left is he's my teacher. I have learned that our bodies are the barometer of the pain that we hold on to and the pain that we can let go of. As I just mentioned, I've been in Arden for about a month now. And before I came, Katie, my dear friend, massage therapist, body worker, she had me back. I had hip pain, back pain, shoulder pain, and all of a sudden I'm like, I think I'm great. Everything's working now. So I come here, and little did I know what I was gonna go through. I can tell you that I stand before you with all that pain and a whole lot more. I think I felt everything. I'm taking Advil just to get through because everything is like screaming. And that tells me something very true, that our bodies are absolutely the barometer for what we hold on to. This has been a very difficult time. No, I can't even see. Thank you. Thank you. Dave, you put on your glasses like right towards the end. I need them at the beginning, so I think your eyes are doing a little bit better than mine. I would not be able to get through looking at any of this without my glasses on, for sure. So the chapters of Dad's life that he tucked away deep inside eventually presented itself as physical pain, which eventually led to illness. I strongly believe Dad wanted us to know that life is precious, that there is nothing more than love. Loving friends and family was Dad's joy. He loved his family so dearly. And he loved his friends so dearly. But loving himself fully was a long and difficult road. Hidden by the jokes, the laughs, always being the life of the party. Behind that was pain. That I don't even know the stories. When Dad brought Mom to the States from Thailand, she wasn't fully accepted. She's Asian, it's the war, you name it. And Dad made a stand. He said, if you love me, you love her. And this is how he lived his life. I had a conversation with my dad. Very difficult conversation regarding Elena. And he said, I love you. And if I don't accept Elena, I will lose you. And I said, Dad, you're never gonna lose me. He looked at me straight in the eye. He says, yes, Vic, I will. And so the love between Dad and Elena grew. They had a bond and a respect. He saw her as a thinker, he was a thinker. He's watching her, she's watching him. But there was a respect and an appreciation for the person that she is. And so I've learned that for you to love me and know my heart, is to know that my heart is bound to Elena, to Aman, to Tala. Unconditional love is meant to break the chains and the boundaries that we have put in place due to the conditions that we once knew. And there is no better teacher than I know than my father, who has taught me truly what it means to love unconditionally, even when it challenges so many things. And I thank him so much for these lessons. And I pray that we all can learn a little something from him. Talk to people when you're hurting. Ask for help when you need help. Because there's a community that loves you. And there are people that want to reach out and support you. You're not alone. And you don't have to suffer alone. You don't have to love everyone else and leave yourself last. And that is the message I have.